Sarah Mitchell wiped down the last table at the diner. Her feet hurt. Her back ached. She had been working for 12 hours straight, and she still had another job to go to in 2 hours. She looked at the clock on the wall. It was almost 9 in the evening. She thought about her son Lucas. He was at home with his older sister Emma. Lucas was 12 years old and he was sick. Very sick. He had cancer called leukemia. For 2 years, Sarah had watched her little boy fight this terrible disease. She had watched him lose his hair. She had watched him get thin and weak. She had watched him cry from the pain. The worst part was not the sickness itself. The worst part was the money. Cancer treatment cost so much money. Even with insurance, the bills kept coming. Sarah owed the hospital over $200,000. She had borrowed money from everyone she knew. She had sold her car and bought a cheaper one. She had taken out a second mortgage on their small apartment. Nothing was enough. Sarah picked up her bag and walked to the back room. Her manager, Jim, was counting the cash register. He looked up at her and smiled, but his smile was sad. Jim knew about Lucas. Everyone in the small Ohio town knew about Lucas. "Go home, Sarah," Jim said. "You look exhausted." "I have to go to my cleaning job," Sarah said. "I will be back tomorrow morning." "You cannot keep doing this," Jim said. "You are working yourself to death." Sarah wanted to tell him that she had no choice. If she did not work 3 jobs, she could not pay for Lucas's treatment. If she could not pay for the treatment, Lucas would die. It was that simple. But she was too tired to explain, so she just smiled and walked out. At home, Emma was doing her homework at the kitchen table. Emma was 16 years old. She was a good student and a good daughter. She helped take care of Lucas when Sarah was working. She cooked meals and cleaned the apartment. She did all of this without complaining. "How is Lucas?" Sarah asked. Emma looked up. Her eyes were red. Sarah's heart dropped. "He had a bad day," Emma said quietly. He threw up 3 times. He could not eat anything. "Mom, he looks so weak." Sarah walked to Lucas's bedroom. She opened the door slowly. Lucas was asleep in his bed. He looked so small under the blanket. His head was bald from the chemotherapy. His skin was pale. But even sleeping, he was wearing his John Cena t-shirt. It was his favorite shirt. He wore it almost every day. Lucas loved John Cena. The walls of his room were covered with John Cena posters. He had John Cena action figures on his shelf. He watched every wrestling match and every movie with John Cena in it. When Lucas was in the hospital getting treatment, he would do John Cena's hand gesture. He would put his hand in front of his face and say, "You cannot see me." It made him feel strong. Sarah closed the door and went back to the kitchen. Emma was not doing homework anymore. She was looking at a piece of paper on the table. Sarah picked it up. It was an eviction notice. They had 30 days to pay 3 months of rent or they would lose their apartment. Sarah sat down and put her head in her hands. She could not cry. She had no tears left. She had cried so much in the past 2 years that she felt empty inside. "Mom," Emma said, "what are we going to do?"
"I do not know," Sarah whispered.
"I honestly do not know." Emma was quiet for a moment. Then she said, "The doctor called today. He said Lucas needs a new treatment, an experimental treatment. He said it could save Lucas's life." Sarah looked up. Hope filled her chest. "Really?" "That is wonderful news." Emma's face fell. "It costs $85,000. Insurance will not cover it because it is experimental." The hope died. Sarah felt like someone had punched her in the stomach. $85,000. She might as well need $85 million. There was no way she could get that much money. That night, Sarah went to her cleaning job. She cleaned offices in a big building downtown. She vacuumed floors and emptied trash cans and cleaned bathrooms. She worked until 2 in the morning. Then she went home and slept for 3 hours before she had to wake up and go back to the diner. Emma could not sleep. She kept thinking about Lucas. She kept thinking about the experimental treatment that could save his life. She kept thinking about the money they did not have. She walked to Lucas's room and looked inside. He was awake, staring at his John Cena poster on the wall. "Cannot sleep?" Emma asked. "My stomach hurts," Lucas said. "But I am okay." Emma sat on the edge of his bed. "You are so brave, Lucas. You are the bravest person I know." Lucas smiled a little. "John Cena says to never give up. So I am not giving up." After Lucas fell asleep, Emma went back to her room. She sat at her desk and turned on her computer. She stared at the screen for a long time. Then she opened a document and started typing. She wrote a letter. She addressed it to John Cena. She did not know if he would ever read it. She did not know if it would make any difference. But she had to try. She had to do something. In the letter, Emma explained everything. She told John Cena about Lucas. She told him how Lucas watched his movies when he was scared. She told him how Lucas did his hand gesture during chemotherapy. She told him about the experimental treatment that could save Lucas's life. She told him about the money they did not have. She told him about their mother working 3 jobs. She told him about the eviction notice. Emma wrote from her heart. She did not ask for money directly. She just told the truth about their situation. She wrote about how much Lucas loved John Cena. She wrote about how John Cena's motto, "Never give up," had helped Lucas through the darkest days. When she finished writing, Emma printed the letter. She found photos of Lucas. There was one of Lucas in his hospital bed doing the "you cannot see me" gesture even though he had tubes in his arms. There was one of Lucas wearing his John Cena shirt and smiling. There was one of Lucas's bedroom with all the posters on the wall. Emma put the letter and photos in an envelope. She addressed it to John Cena at WWE headquarters. She found the address online. She knew the chances were very small. John Cena was a huge star. He probably got thousands of letters every day. Why would he read hers? But Emma remembered what John Cena always said, "Never give up." So she would not give up. The next morning, Emma woke up early. It was Saturday, so she did not have school. She took the envelope and walked to the post office. It was raining. The cold rain soaked through her jacket, but she did not care. At the post office, Emma bought a stamp. Her hands shook as she put the stamp on the envelope. This was crazy, she thought. This would not work. But what other choice did she have? She walked to the mailbox outside. She held the envelope for a long moment. Then she whispered a prayer. She prayed that someone somewhere would hear their cry for help. She prayed that somehow, some way, John Cena would see this letter. Emma dropped the envelope into the mailbox. She heard it fall inside with a soft thud. Then she walked home in the rain, hoping for a miracle that would probably never come. At home, Sarah was getting ready for work. Lucas was sitting on the couch, too weak to do much else. Emma looked at her little brother and made a silent promise. She would find a way to save him. No matter what it took, she would find a way. The letter was gone now, traveling through the mail system to WWE headquarters. Emma did not know if anyone would read it. She did not know if it would change anything. But at least she had tried. At least she had done something instead of just waiting and hoping. That was all she could do now. Wait and hope. 2 weeks passed. Nothing changed. Lucas got weaker. The hospital called Sarah 3 times about the unpaid bills. They said if she could not pay, they would have to stop Lucas's treatment. Sarah begged them for more time. They gave her 2 more weeks. Sarah was falling apart. She lost 15 pounds because she forgot to eat. She had dark circles under her eyes from not sleeping. Her hands shook all the time. Emma watched her mother slowly break down, and it scared her more than anything else. One day at school, Emma was sitting with her best friend Minji in the cafeteria. Emma had not told anyone about the letter she sent to John Cena. She felt embarrassed about it. It seemed so foolish now. "Emma, you look terrible," Minji said. "What is going on?" Emma was so tired of holding everything inside. She told Minji everything. She told her about Lucas getting worse. She told her about the eviction notice. She told her about her mother working 3 jobs. And she told her about the letter you wrote to John Cena. Minji asked, "Did he write back?" "No," Emma said. "Of course not. He is a huge star. He probably gets 1,000,000 letters. I was stupid to think he would read mine." Minji was quiet for a moment. Then she said, "You should post about it on social media. Maybe someone will see it and help." Emma shook her head. "I do not want to beg strangers for money." "You are not begging," Minji said. "You are sharing your story. There is a difference. People help when they know about a problem, but they cannot help if they do not know." That night, Emma thought about what Minji said. She looked at her phone. She rarely used social media because she was too busy taking care of Lucas and doing schoolwork, but maybe Minji was right. Maybe sharing their story could help. Emma created a Twitter account. She wrote a thread explaining Lucas's situation. She posted the same photo she had sent to John Cena. She showed the hospital bills with the huge numbers. She talked about her mother's 3 jobs. She talked about Lucas's love for John Cena and how never give up had become their family motto. She used hashtags about John Cena and WWE. She tagged John Cena's official account, even though she knew he would never see it. Then she pressed send and put her phone away. She expected nothing. The next morning, Emma woke up to hundreds of notifications on her phone. She rubbed her eyes and looked at the screen. Her Twitter thread had been retweeted over 1,000 times. People were commenting with messages of support, praying. For Lucas, one person wrote. Your family is so strong, another person said. John Cena needs to see this. Many people wrote. Emma showed Sarah the phone. Sarah stared at it in shock. People care, Emma said. Look, Mom, people actually care about Lucas. More notifications came in. The local news station saw the Twitter thread and wanted to do a story. A reporter named David Chen called Sarah and asked if he could interview her at the diner. Sarah agreed. She did not know what else to do. Maybe if people saw their story, someone with money would help. It was a long shot, but they had nothing to lose. David Chen came to the diner with a camera crew. They filmed Sarah working. They filmed her talking about Lucas. When Sarah described watching her son suffer, she started crying on camera. She could not help it. The tears just came. I would do anything to save my son, Sarah said to the camera. I work 3 jobs. I sold everything I own. But it is not enough. The treatment that could save Lucas's life cost $85,000 and I do not have it. I will never have it. The interview aired on the local news that evening. People in the town saw it. They started talking about the Mitchell family. Some people donated small amounts to their GoFundMe page. $5 here, $10 there. Every little bit helped, but it was nowhere near what they needed. Emma kept checking her Twitter thread. More people were sharing it. It spread beyond their small town. People from other states started seeing it. The retweets went from thousands to tens of thousands. Then something strange happened. The thread went viral. Really viral. Within 2 days, it had been retweeted over 250,000 times. People from all over the world were commenting. Wrestling fans found it. John Cena fans found it. Parents who had sick children found it. Everyone was sharing Lucas's story. The GoFundMe page started getting more donations. $50, $100, sometimes more. Emma watched the total slowly climb. They reached $10,000, then $15,000. It was amazing, but it still was not enough for the treatment. Emma checked her phone constantly. She read every comment. People were using hashtags like Help Lucas and John Cena Please Help. Some people were tagging John Cena's account in every tweet, begging him to see the story. But John Cena did not respond. Emma tried not to be disappointed. He was probably busy filming movies or doing wrestling events. He had millions of followers. Why would he notice one sick kid in Ohio? Still, Emma kept hoping. On Thursday evening, Emma was helping Lucas with his homework. Lucas could barely hold his pencil. His hand was too weak, but he tried anyway because he did not want to fall behind in school. Do you think I will get better? Lucas asked suddenly. Emma's throat tightened. Yes, of course you will. But what if I do not? What if the treatment does not work? It will work, Emma said firmly. You just have to keep fighting. Never give up, remember? Lucas smiled a little. Like John Cena says. Exactly like John Cena says. Emma's phone buzzed. She picked it up and glanced at the screen. Then she screamed. Lucas jumped. What is wrong? Emma could not speak. She just stared at her phone. Her hands were shaking so hard she almost dropped it. Emma, you are scaring me, Lucas said. Emma showed him the phone. On the screen was a retweet from John Cena's verified account. His official account. The real John Cena had retweeted Emma's thread about Lucas, and he had added a message. I see you, Lucas, never give up. Lucas stared at the phone. His eyes got very wide, then tears started running down his face. He saw it. Lucas whispered, John Cena saw my story. He knows who I am. Emma was crying too. She hugged her brother tightly. For the first time in weeks, she felt something she had almost forgotten. She felt hope. Sarah came home from her job an hour later. Emma and Lucas were still looking at the phone, reading all the new comments. When Sarah saw what happened, she sat down on the floor and cried. She cried so hard her whole body shook. The Twitter thread exploded after John Cena's retweet. Within an hour, it had 1 million views. News websites picked up the story. Entertainment blogs wrote articles. Everyone was talking about Lucas Mitchell and John Cena's response. The GoFundMe page got flooded with donations. The number climbed fast. $20,000, $30,000, $40,000. Emma kept refreshing the page, watching in disbelief as the total went up and up. By the end of the night, they had raised over $50,000. It was incredible. It was more money than Sarah made in a year. But they still needed $35,000 more for the treatment. Emma stayed awake all night. She could not sleep. She kept reading the comments on Twitter. People from all over the world were sending messages of love and support. John Cena is a real hero, someone wrote. This is why we love him, another person said, praying for Lucas and his family. Hundreds of people commented. Emma looked at John Cena's simple message again and again. I see you, Lucas, never give up. He saw Lucas. John Cena actually saw her little brother. He knew Lucas existed. He cared enough to retweet the story and send a message. Emma walked to Lucas's room. He was asleep, but he was smiling. Even in his sleep, he looked happier than he had in months. Emma made a silent promise to John Cena, even though he would never hear it. Thank you, she whispered. Thank you for giving my brother hope. Thank you for letting him know that someone cares. The next morning, Sarah had to work at the diner. People in town had seen the Twitter post. When Sarah walked in, everyone clapped. Jim, her manager, had tears in his eyes. Sarah, John Cena knows about Lucas, Jim said. This is amazing. This is a miracle. Sarah nodded, but part of her was scared to hope too much. Yes, John Cena had retweeted the story. Yes, people were donating. But they still needed more money. And there was no guarantee that John Cena would do anything else. Still, for the first time in 2 years, Sarah felt like they were not alone. The whole world was watching now. The whole world knew about Lucas's fight, and somewhere out there, John Cena was watching too. That had to mean something. It had to. 3 days after John Cena's retweet, life felt different for the Mitchell family. The GoFundMe page had reached $45,000. It was amazing, but they still needed $40,000 more. Sarah tried to stay positive, but the worry never left her mind. She came home from her night shift at 6 in the morning. Her whole body ached. She had cleaned 15 offices and vacuumed miles of carpet. All she wanted was to sleep for a few hours before going back to the diner. Emma was asleep on the couch with her phone still in her hand. Sarah smiled sadly. Emma had been checking social media constantly, hoping for more news about John Cena. Sarah walked to the kitchen to make coffee. Then the house phone rang. Sarah's heart jumped. Phone calls this early were never good. It was probably the hospital calling about more bills, or maybe the landlord calling about the eviction. She picked up the phone. Hello?
Hello, is this Sarah Mitchell?
A woman's voice asked. The voice was professional and kind. Yes, this is Sarah. My name is Rebecca Torres. I work with John Cena's management team. Do you have a few minutes to talk? Sarah almost dropped the phone. She thought this was a joke. Or maybe a scam. People pretended to be celebrities all the time to steal money. How do I know you are real? Sarah asked carefully. That is a smart question, Rebecca said. I am going to send you a text message right now with verification. Check your phone. Sarah's phone buzzed. She looked at the text. It had an official WWE logo and contact information. There was a website link to verify Rebecca's identity. Sarah clicked it with shaking hands. The website confirmed that Rebecca Torres worked for John Cena's management company. Okay, Sarah said. I believe you. What is this about? John Cena saw your daughter's Twitter post and the letter Emma sent him, Rebecca said. He was very moved by Lucas's story. He wants to help your family. Sarah sat down hard on a kitchen chair. She could not breathe properly. Are you still there? Rebecca asked. Yes, Sarah whispered. I am here. I just cannot believe this is real. It is real, Rebecca said gently. John takes his platform very seriously. He receives thousands of requests for help every month, but Lucas's story really touched his heart. Would you be available for a video call in 10 minutes? John would like to speak with you personally. John Cena wants to talk to me, Sarah said. On video? Yes, is that okay? Sarah looked down at her dirty work clothes. She looked around the messy apartment. I just got home from work. I look terrible. The house is a mess. John does not care about any of that, Rebecca said. He just wants to meet your family. Sarah woke up Emma. Emma jumped off the couch, confused and scared. What is wrong? Is Lucas okay? Emma asked. Lucas is fine, Sarah said. But John Cena's manager just called. They want to video call us in 10 minutes. Emma stared at her mother. What? John Cena wants to talk to us. Right now. They woke up Lucas. He shuffled out of his bedroom looking tired and weak. When they told him what was happening, his eyes got big. John Cena. The real John Cena? Lucas asked. The real one, Sarah said. They tried to clean up the living room quickly. Emma fixed her hair. Sarah wished she had time to change clothes, but there was no time. Her phone buzzed with a video call request. Sarah answered it with shaking hands. Rebecca Torres appeared on the screen. She was a woman in her 30s with kind eyes and a professional smile. Hello, Mitchell family, Rebecca said. Thank you for taking this call. How is everyone doing? We are okay, Sarah said. Her voice sounded strange and high. I want to explain what is going to happen, Rebecca said. John saw Emma's letter and the Twitter post. He has been following your story for the past few days. He wants to do something special for your family, but he needs you to trust him with the planning. Can you keep 2 weeks open on your calendar? 2 weeks for what? Sarah asked. I cannot tell you all the details yet, Rebecca said. But John wants to meet Lucas in person. He wants to help your family. Will you trust us? Sarah looked at Emma and Lucas. Lucas was holding his John Cena action figure. He nodded eagerly. Yes, Sarah said. We trust you. Wonderful, Rebecca said. Someone from our team will contact you within 2 days with more information. In the meantime, keep being strong. John is very impressed by how your family supports each other. After the call ended, the three of them sat in silence. Lucas broke the silence first. Did that really happen? He asked. I think so, Emma said. Sarah started crying. Not sad tears this time. These were tears of relief and disbelief and hope all mixed together. 2 days later, a man named Marcus Chen called. He said he was a documentary director who worked with WWE films. He explained that they wanted to film the Mitchell family's story as part of a special documentary about John Cena's charity work. We want to show the real story, Marcus said, not a fake staged version. We want to film your daily life, Lucas's treatment, and the special surprise that John has planned. Sarah was not sure about cameras in their home. Their life was messy and hard. She did not want the world to see how much they struggled, but Emma convinced her. Mom, if we share our story, maybe it will help other families. Maybe other people will get the help they need. Sarah agreed. The film crew arrived the next week. There were 3 people, Marcus the director, a camera operator named Lisa, and a sound person named Tom. They were all very nice. They did not make fun of the small apartment or the old furniture. They just filmed everything naturally. They filmed Sarah getting ready for work at the diner. They filmed Emma making breakfast for Lucas. They filmed Lucas trying to do his homework even though his hands shook from weakness. Marcus asked Sarah questions about their struggle. She told him everything. She told him about the 3 jobs and the unpaid bills and the fear that never went away. She told him about lying awake at night, wondering if she was doing enough to save her son. The crew filmed at the hospital too. They were there on a bad day when Lucas had a terrible reaction to his treatment. Lucas threw up over and over. He cried from pain. Sarah and Emma held him while he suffered. The cameras captured it all. Sarah almost told them to stop filming. This was too private, too painful. But Marcus said quietly, people need to see this. They need to understand what families like yours go through. After that hospital visit, Lucas was very weak. He could barely walk. Sarah had to carry him to the car. In the parking lot, Sarah broke down crying. The cameras filmed that too. That evening, Marcus sat with Sarah in the apartment while Emma and Lucas were sleeping. I have been making documentaries for 15 years, Marcus said. I have never seen a family love each other as much as you 3 do. The way you fight for each other. The way you never give up. It is the most beautiful thing I have ever filmed. Sarah wiped her eyes. I am just doing what any mother would do. No, Marcus said. Not every mother would work 3 jobs. Not every mother would give up everything for her child. You are extraordinary, Sarah. Your whole family is extraordinary. 3 days later, Rebecca called again. This time she had the details. John Cena will be visiting your town next week, Rebecca said. He wants to meet Lucas personally, and he has a surprise that will change everything for your family. What kind of surprise? Sarah asked. You will see, Rebecca said. Just trust us. Sarah told Emma and Lucas the news. Lucas could not stop smiling. He was too excited to eat or sleep. He kept looking at his John Cena posters and action figures. He is really coming here, Lucas said over and over. John Cena is really coming to see me. Sarah cleaned the apartment 3 times. She borrowed a nice dress from her coworker at the diner. Emma helped Lucas pick out his best clothes. Lucas wanted to wear his John Cena shirt, but it had holes in it from being washed so many times. Emma surprised him with a new John Cena shirt she had bought with her babysitting money. Lucas hugged her so tight she could barely breathe. You are the best sister in the whole world, Lucas said. The night before John Cena's visit, none of them could sleep. They sat together in the living room talking about what might happen. What if he is not as nice in person? Lucas worried. He will be nice, Emma said. Trust me. What if I say something stupid? Lucas asked. You will not, Sarah promised. Just be yourself. That is all he wants. Sarah looked at her 2 children. Emma had grown up so much in the past few years. She had gone from being a teenage girl to being Sarah's partner in taking care of Lucas. She was wise beyond her 16 years, and Lucas, her brave, sweet Lucas. He had been through so much pain, but he never stopped fighting. He never lost his kindness or his hope. I am so proud of both of you, Sarah said. No matter what happens tomorrow, I want you to know that you are both my heroes. John Cena is going to be here tomorrow, Lucas said, his eyes shining. I cannot believe it. I cannot believe this is real. Emma smiled. Believe it, little brother. Miracles do happen. We are living proof. That night, Sarah lay in bed staring at the ceiling. She thought about the past 2 years. The fear, the pain, the exhaustion. She thought about all the nights she cried herself to sleep. All the times she thought they would not make it. But they had made it. They were still here, still fighting, still together. And tomorrow John Cena would walk through their door. Sarah did not know what would happen. She did not know what surprise he had planned. But she knew one thing for certain. Their lives were about to change forever. The morning arrived. Sarah woke up at 5 in the morning even though she did not need to work. She was too nervous to sleep. She took a shower and put on the borrowed dress. She looked at herself in the mirror and barely recognized the woman staring back. When was the last time she had dressed up for anything? Emma was already awake. She was helping Lucas get ready. Lucas was too excited and too nervous to do much by himself. His hands were shaking, but not from sickness this time. From anticipation. Do I look okay? Lucas asked for the 10th time. You look great, Emma said. She fixed his collar and smiled at him. The film crew arrived at 8 in the morning. Marcus, Lisa, and Tom set up their equipment quietly. They had been with the family enough now that they felt like friends instead of strangers. Rebecca Torres arrived at 9. She wore a professional suit and carried a tablet. She smiled warmly at the family. Big day, Rebecca said. Are you all ready? I think so, Sarah said, but her voice shook. John will be here at 11, Rebecca said. He wanted me to tell you that he is just a regular person. Do not be nervous. Just be yourselves. Just a regular person who is also a huge movie star and wrestling champion, Emma said, and everyone laughed. The time moved so slowly. Sarah paced around the apartment. Emma checked her phone every few minutes. Lucas sat on the couch holding his new John Cena action figure, staring at the door. At 10:30, neighbors started gathering outside. Word had spread through the town that John Cena was coming. People lined the street with their phones ready to take pictures. At exactly 11 o'clock, a black SUV pulled up outside the apartment building. Sarah's heart started beating so fast she thought she might faint. The SUV door opened. John Cena stepped out. He was even bigger in person than he looked on TV. He was tall and muscular, wearing jeans and a simple t-shirt. But there was something about him that seemed larger than life. Maybe it was his confidence. Maybe it was the way he smiled and waved at the crowd. The neighbors cheered and called his name. Cena waved at them but walked quickly toward the apartment building. Rebecca met him at the door and led him upstairs. Sarah heard footsteps in the hallway. Her throat felt tight. Then there was a knock on the door. Sarah looked at Emma and Lucas. Emma nodded. Sarah walked to the door and opened it. John Cena stood in her doorway. The actual John Cena. He was smiling, and his smile was warm and genuine. He was holding a gift bag. Sarah, he asked. His voice was kind. Yes, Sarah whispered. I am Sarah. I am John, he said. Thank you for letting me visit. Can I come in? Sarah stepped aside. She could not find words. John Cena walked into her small, humble apartment like it was the most natural thing in the world. He looked around and saw Emma standing near the couch. You must be Emma, he said. I got your letter. It was beautiful. Thank you for writing it. Emma's eyes filled with tears. You really read it? Every word, John said. It was one of the most powerful letters I have ever received. Then he turned and saw Lucas. Lucas was frozen in place, staring at his hero with wide eyes. John walked over slowly. He knelt down so he was at Lucas's eye level. He reached out his hand. Lucas, John said softly, I have been wanting to meet you. I have heard you are a fighter. I have heard you never give up. Lucas stared at John's hand. Then he reached out and shook it. Tears started running down Lucas's face. You are real, Lucas whispered. John laughed gently. I am real. And you know what? You are real too. You are a real champion, Lucas. Not because of anything I did, but because of everything you have done. Lucas started crying harder. John pulled him into a hug. Lucas hugged him back as tight as his weak arms could manage. Sarah and Emma were both crying now too. The cameras filmed everything, but Sarah forgot they were there. This moment was too precious, too perfect to worry about cameras. John stayed for 2 hours. He sat on the worn couch like he belonged there. He asked Lucas about his favorite wrestling matches. They talked about movies. John listened when Lucas explained his treatment and his sickness. He did not look uncomfortable or sad. He looked interested and caring. He talked to Sarah about her jobs and her struggles. He did not offer pity. He offered respect. You are one of the strongest people I have ever met, John told Sarah. Working 3 jobs to save your son, never giving up even when things seemed impossible. That takes real courage, Sarah shook her head. I am not strong. I'm just scared all the time. Being scared but doing it anyway, that is what courage is, John said. He talked to Emma about her letter and her love for her brother. He thanked her for being brave enough to ask for help. A lot of people suffer in silence because they are too proud to ask for help, John said. But asking for help is not weakness. It is wisdom. You were wise enough to reach out. That saved your family, Emma. Then John reached for the gift bag he had brought. He pulled out items one by one. There were signed posters and photos. There was merchandise. There was a custom championship belt with Lucas's name engraved on the front. Lucas held the belt like it was made of real gold. To him, it was more valuable than gold. This belt is for you, John said, because you are already a champion. You have been fighting the toughest opponent anyone could face, and you have not given up. Lucas could barely speak. He just kept touching the belt and crying. Then John's expression changed. He became more serious. The whole room seemed to shift. Lucas, John said. Your sister wrote to me asking for help. She told me about your cancer, about the experimental treatment you need, and about how hard your family has been fighting. He looked at Sarah. She told me about your 3 jobs and the hospital bills and the fear of losing your home. Sarah nodded, unable to speak. I want you to know something, John continued. When I started wrestling, I made a promise to myself. I promised that if I ever became successful, I would use that success to help people, real people with real problems. He pulled an envelope from his pocket. He handed it to Sarah. This is for you, he said quietly. Sarah's hands shook as she opened the envelope. Inside was a letter. She started reading it and her vision blurred with tears. She read it once, then twice. Then she looked up at John with shock on her face. I do not understand, Sarah said. Emma took the letter from her mother's hands. She read it out loud, her voice breaking. Dear Mitchell family, this letter confirms that John Cena's charitable foundation has paid your complete medical debt to the hospital in the amount of $207,000. Additionally, we will fund Lucas Mitchell's experimental cancer treatment in full. The total amount of $85,000 has been transferred to the hospital. Your family owes nothing. The debt is forgiven. We wish you strength and health in the coming months. Emma stopped reading. She looked at John Cena. Is this real? It is real, John said. Sarah made a sound that was half laugh, half sob. She put her hands over her face and cried. These were not small, quiet tears. These were huge, body-shaking sobs. Years of fear and stress and worry poured out of her. Emma hugged her mother. Lucas looked confused. He did not fully understand money, but he understood that something huge had just happened. John stood up and walked over to Sarah. He put his hand on her shoulder. "You are not alone anymore," he said gently. "I cannot fight Lucas's cancer for him. I wish I could, but I can make sure he gets every chance to beat it. I can take away the stress about money so your family can focus on healing." Sarah looked up at him. "Why? Why would you do this for us? You do not even know us." "Because Emma asked," John said simply. "She asked for help. And because when I see a family fighting this hard to stay together, I want to help. That is what we are supposed to do as human beings. We help each other." He looked at Lucas. "When you beat this cancer, when you are healthy and strong again, I want you to come to a wrestling event, front row seats, as my personal guest. Do you think you can do that?" Lucas nodded so hard his whole body moved. "But you have to promise me something," John said. "You have to promise to never give up. No matter how hard the treatment gets, no matter how sick you feel, you keep fighting. Can you promise me that?" "I promise," Lucas said. His voice was stronger than it had been in weeks. John smiled. "That is what I wanted to hear, champ." The film crew kept recording. Marcus had tears running down his face behind the camera. Even Rebecca, who had probably seen John do many charitable things, was crying. John stayed for lunch. He had pizza delivered for everyone, including the film crew and some of the neighbors who had been waiting outside. He took photos with people and signed autographs, but he kept coming back to Lucas, checking on him, making sure he was okay. Before John left, he knelt down one more time to talk to Lucas privately. The cameras did not film this part. It was just between the two of them. Whatever John said made Lucas smile bigger than Sarah had seen in years. When John finally walked to the door, he hugged each family member. He hugged Emma and thanked her again for her brave letter. He hugged Sarah and told her she was an incredible mother. He hugged Lucas last and longest. "I will see you again," John promised. "When you beat this, we will celebrate together." Then he was gone. The black SUV drove away. The neighbors cheered and waved. Sarah, Emma, and Lucas stood in their apartment doorway, watching the SUV disappear down the street. They stood there for a long time, not speaking, just processing what had happened. Finally, Lucas broke the silence. "Did John Cena really just pay for my treatment?" he asked. "Yes," Sarah said. "He really did. So I can get the experimental treatment, the one that might save my life?" "Yes," Emma said, crying and laughing at the same time. "Yes, you can get it." Lucas looked down at his championship belt. Then he looked at his mother and sister. "I am going to beat this," he said. "I am going to get better. John Cena believes in me, so I have to believe in me too." Sarah pulled both her children into a hug. They stood there together holding each other, crying tears of joy and relief and hope. For the first time in 2 years, Sarah felt something she had forgotten. Peace. The crushing weight of debt was gone. The fear of losing their home was gone. Lucas would get the treatment he needed. They were going to be okay. John Cena had given them a miracle. But more than that, he had given them hope. And sometimes, hope was the strongest medicine of all. 4 months passed. Lucas started the experimental treatment at a special hospital 3 hours away from home. The treatment was harder than anything Lucas had experienced before. It made him very sick. Some days he could not get out of bed. Some days he threw up so much that he cried from exhaustion. Some days the pain was so bad that he begged Sarah to make it stop. But everything was different now. The medical debt was gone. Sarah did not have to work 3 jobs anymore. She kept her job at the diner, but she quit the other 2 jobs. This meant she could be at the hospital with Lucas during his treatment. She could hold his hand when he was scared. She could sleep in the chair next to his bed. She could be the mother she wanted to be. Emma's life changed too. She did not have to worry about paying rent or buying food anymore. She could focus on school. Her grades got better. She started thinking about college again, something she had given up on during the hardest times. The documentary crew came back every few weeks to film Lucas's progress. They filmed the hard days when Lucas was very sick. They filmed the good days when Lucas felt strong enough to walk around the hospital. They filmed the family supporting each other through everything. One day, Marcus, the director, was filming Lucas in his hospital room. Lucas was too weak to do much, but he insisted on doing exercises. He was doing push-ups on the floor modified to fit his strength level. The nurses cheered for him. "Why are you working out when you feel so bad?" Marcus asked. Lucas stopped and looked at the camera. "Because John Cena works out every day. If he can do it, I can do it too. I have to stay strong so I can beat this cancer." The nurses had tears in their eyes. Even Marcus had to stop filming for a moment to wipe his face. Dr. Patricia Chen was Lucas's main doctor. She was a kind woman who specialized in childhood cancer. She had seen many sick children, but she said Lucas was special. "Most kids lose hope after a few months of treatment," Dr. Chen told Sarah one day. "But Lucas never gives up. Every time I see him, he is smiling or working hard to get better. That attitude makes a real difference in recovery." "He learned it from John Cena," Sarah said. "Never give up. That has become our family motto." John Cena called Lucas every 2 weeks. Lucas always got so excited when his phone rang and John's name appeared on the screen. They talked about wrestling and movies. They talked about the treatment. John always asked how Lucas was really feeling. One time, Lucas had a very bad week. The treatment made him so sick that he told Sarah he wanted to quit. He said he could not do it anymore. He said he was too tired to keep fighting. That night, John Cena called. Lucas told him the truth. "I want to give up," Lucas said quietly. "It hurts too much." John was quiet for a moment, then his voice became firm, but kind. "Lucas, I did not pay for that treatment so you could quit. I paid for it because I knew you were strong enough to finish. Do you remember what you promised me?" "I promised to never give up," Lucas said. "That is right. And I know it is hard. I know you are in pain. But you are stronger than this cancer. You are stronger than the pain. Prove to your cancer that it picked the wrong kid to mess with." Lucas was quiet. Then he said, "Okay, I will keep fighting." "That is my champion," John said. After that call, Lucas's attitude changed. He stopped complaining about the treatment. When he felt sick, he reminded himself that John Cena believed in him. When the pain was bad, he thought about his promise. The documentary team filmed the community's response to the Mitchell family's story. The diner where Sarah worked organized a special event. They raised money for other families dealing with medical debt. They called it the Lucas Mitchell Never Give Up Fund. Emma's school started a kindness campaign. Students were encouraged to help classmates who were struggling with family problems. They put up posters with Lucas's photo and John Cena's motto, "Never give up." The story rippled out beyond their small town. News articles were written, podcasts talked about it. People across the country heard about Lucas and John Cena's help. Other celebrities started doing similar things, inspired by John's example. 3 months into the experimental treatment, Lucas had a major checkup. Dr. Chen did blood tests and new scans. Sarah, Emma, and Lucas waited nervously for the results. Dr. Chen came into the room with a smile on her face. Sarah's heart jumped. "The tumors are shrinking," Dr. Chen said. "Significantly, the experimental treatment is working better than we hoped." Sarah started crying. Emma grabbed her mother's hand. Lucas sat up in his hospital bed, his eyes wide. "Does that mean I am getting better?" Lucas asked. "It means you are beating the cancer," Dr. Chen said. "We still have more treatment to do, but the results are very promising, Lucas." That night, Emma posted an update on Twitter. She shared the good news with a photo of Lucas's scan results. The response was huge. Thousands of people commented with congratulations and prayers. John Cena retweeted the update. He added a simple message, "Told you he was a champion." The treatment continued for 6 more weeks. There were still hard days. Lucas got a serious infection that put him in the ICU for a week. Sarah barely left his side. She slept in a chair and ate hospital food. She did not care. She just wanted to be there for her son. The infection scared everyone. Lucas's fever went very high. For 2 days, Sarah thought they might lose him. But Lucas fought through it. His body was strong from all the treatment. He recovered. "You are one tough kid," the ICU nurse told Lucas. "I have been a nurse for 20 years, and I have never seen a child fight this hard." Lucas smiled weakly. "I promised John Cena I would never give up." As Lucas got stronger, the documentary started to take shape. Marcus showed the family some early footage. It was powerful. It showed their struggle, their pain, and their hope. It showed John Cena's kindness. It showed what one person can do when they decide to help. "This is going to help so many families," Marcus told Sarah. "When people see this, they will understand what medical debt does to families. Maybe it will inspire change." Sarah hoped he was right. She did not want other families to go through what they went through. She did not want other parents to work 3 jobs and still not have enough money to save their children. 8 months after John Cena's visit, Lucas had his final big checkup. This was the moment that would determine everything. If the scans were good, Lucas could move to the next phase of recovery. If they were bad, they would have to try something else. Dr. Chen called for a family meeting. Sarah's stomach hurt from nervousness. Emma held her mother's hand. Lucas sat quietly, trying to be brave. Dr. Chen walked into the room with a big smile. She did not make them wait. "I have good news," she said. "Very good news." She pulled up Lucas's latest scans on her computer. She pointed to different areas, explaining what they meant. "The tumors have shrunk by 73%, Dr. Chen said. Lucas's blood work is showing normal ranges across the board. His body is responding beautifully to the treatment." She turned to face them directly. "If these results continue, Lucas, we are looking at remission." The word hung in the air. Remission. Sarah could not breathe. Emma gasped and put her hand over her mouth. Lucas looked confused. "What does remission mean?" Lucas asked. "It means you are beating the cancer," Dr. Chen explained. "It means the treatment is working. It means you are winning this fight, Lucas." Lucas's face broke into the biggest smile Sarah had seen in 2 years. Then he started crying. Sarah and Emma rushed to hug him. All 3 of them cried together, holding each other tight. The documentary cameras were there. They captured everything. The tears, the hugs, the pure joy on their faces. Lucas looked directly at the camera. With tears still running down his face, he did John Cena's hand gesture. He put his hand in front of his face. "You cannot see me," Lucas said. But he was not talking to the camera. He was talking to his cancer. That evening, Emma called Rebecca Torres. Her hands were shaking as she dialed. "Rebecca, it is Emma," she said when Rebecca answered. "Lucas is going into remission. The treatment worked. He is going to be okay." Rebecca's voice got emotional. "Oh, Emma, that is wonderful news. That is the best news. Can I tell John?" "Yes, please tell him," Emma said. "I want him to know that his help worked. I want him to know he saved my brother's life." An hour later, Emma's phone rang. It was John Cena calling directly, not during his regular scheduled time. "Emma?" John's voice said. "I just heard the news. Can I talk to Lucas?" Emma handed the phone to her brother. Lucas's face lit up when he heard John's voice. "Hey, champion," John said. "I heard you got some good news today." "I'm going into remission," Lucas said. "The cancer is going away." "I knew you could do it," John said. "I never doubted you for a second. You are the toughest kid I know." "Thank you for everything," Lucas said. "Thank you for paying for my treatment. Thank you for believing in me. Thank you for teaching me to never give up." "You taught yourself that, Lucas," John said. "I just reminded you of what you already had inside you. All that strength and courage. That was always yours." They talked for 30 minutes. When Lucas finally hung up, he had the biggest smile on his face. That night, the family sat together in Lucas's hospital room. They talked about the future for the first time in 2 years. Sarah mentioned maybe taking a vacation when Lucas was healthy enough to travel. Emma talked about the colleges she wanted to apply to. Lucas said he wanted to become a doctor who helps kids with cancer. "I want to be like Dr. Chen," Lucas said. "I want to help other kids fight like I did. I want to give them hope." "You will," Sarah said. "You are going to do amazing things, Lucas. I know it." Outside the hospital window, snow started falling. It was the first snow of winter. Sarah watched the snowflakes drift down from the dark sky. Each snowflake was unique and beautiful, just like each day of their journey had been. For 2 years, they had lived in darkness. They had struggled and suffered and barely survived. But they had survived. They had made it through the worst time of their lives, and now they were stepping into the light. Lucas was getting better. The debt was gone. The fear was lifting. They had a future again. Sarah looked at her 2 children. Emma was reading something on her phone, probably messages of congratulations from friends. Lucas was playing with his John Cena championship belt, running his fingers over his engraved name. "I love you both so much," Sarah said suddenly. They looked at her. Emma smiled. Lucas put down his belt and hugged his mother. "We love you too, Mom," Emma said. "We are going to be okay," Lucas said. "We are going to make it." "Yes," Sarah said, holding her children close. "We are going to make it. We already have." 8 months later, Lucas was declared to be in full remission. The cancer was gone. The experimental treatment had worked beyond anyone's expectations. Lucas still had to go for regular checkups and monitoring, but Dr. Chen said his prognosis was excellent. He had beaten the disease that almost killed him. Lucas looked different now. His hair had grown back, curly and darker than before. He had gained weight and looked healthy. His smile, the smile that had disappeared during the worst days of treatment, was back. It was brighter than ever. Sarah's life had changed completely. She still worked at the diner, but only one job now. Her boss, Jim, had given her a raise and better benefits after seeing her story. She had time to rest. She had time to be with her children. She could sleep at night without nightmares about losing Lucas or their home. Emma had been accepted to 3 universities. All of them offered full scholarships after reading her college essay about advocating for her brother. She chose a school just 2 hours away so she could still visit Lucas and Sarah often. She planned to study nursing. She wanted to help families like hers. Lucas was back in school full-time. He was a little behind in his studies, but he was catching up quickly. He tutored other students in math, his best subject. On weekends, he volunteered at the hospital where he had been treated. He visited other children with cancer and told them his story. He told them to never give up. The documentary Never Give Up, the Lucas Mitchell story, was finished. Marcus had spent months editing all the footage into a powerful film. It premiered at a small film festival in their state. The Mitchell family attended the premiere, walking down a red carpet for the first time in their lives. The documentary won the Audience Choice Award. People in the theater cried during the screening. After it ended, there was a standing ovation that lasted 5 minutes. Sarah, Emma, and Lucas stood on stage, overwhelmed by the response. Major streaming services wanted to buy the documentary. They bid against each other to get the rights. Finally, a deal was made. The documentary would be released worldwide. Marcus made sure that a large portion of the profits would go to charities that help families with medical debt. 3 weeks before the documentary's worldwide release, Rebecca Torres called Sarah. "I have some exciting news," Rebecca said. "John Cena is back from filming his latest movie. He wants to make good on his promise to Lucas. WWE wants to invite your family to a Monday Night Raw event, but it is more than just attending. John has something special planned." "What kind of special?" Sarah asked. "I cannot tell you yet," Rebecca said, "but it is going to be amazing. Can your family come to the event next month?" Sarah looked at Lucas, who was doing homework at the kitchen table. He looked so healthy now, so alive. "Yes," Sarah said. "We can come." The documentary crew reunited to film this final chapter. Marcus, Lisa, and Tom drove to the Mitchell home to travel with them to the WWE event. It felt like old friends coming together. They all drove to the arena together. Lucas wore his personalized championship belt over his jacket. Emma and Sarah wore matching Never Give Up t-shirts. Lucas could not sit still in the car. He was too excited. "Do you think I will really see John Cena?" Lucas asked for the 10th time. "Yes," Emma laughed. "I promise you will see him." When they arrived at the arena, Rebecca was waiting for them. She had become a real friend to the family over the past months. She checked in with them regularly. She celebrated Lucas's remission with them. She felt like part of their extended family now. Rebecca led them backstage. Lucas's eyes got huge. There were wrestlers everywhere getting ready for their matches. Some of them recognized Lucas from the documentary previews that had been shown online. A famous wrestler named Roman Reigns stopped to shake Lucas's hand. "I have heard about you, kid. You are tougher than any opponent I have faced in the ring." Another wrestler, Becky Lynch, hugged Lucas and told him he was her hero. Lucas could not believe it. These huge stars knew who he was. They respected him. They treated him like he mattered. Rebecca brought them to a private room. John Cena was waiting inside. The reunion was emotional. John had not seen Lucas since his visit to their apartment 8 months ago. The change was dramatic. Lucas looked completely different. He looked healthy and strong and full of life. John's face broke into a huge smile when he saw Lucas. He walked over and lifted Lucas off the ground in a big hug. "Look at you," John said. "Lucas, you did it. You beat it. I knew you would, but seeing you like this, healthy and strong, man, this is the best thing I have seen in a long time." Lucas hugged John back as tight as he could. He was crying, but they were happy tears. John hugged Sarah and Emma too. He told Sarah she looked so much better than the last time he saw her. She had gained back the weight she lost. She looked rested. She looked happy. They talked for 20 minutes. John asked about the treatment and the recovery. He asked about Emma's college plans. He asked Sarah about work. He genuinely cared about every detail of their lives. Then Rebecca checked her watch. "John, we need to get you in position soon." John nodded. He turned to Lucas with a mysterious smile. "Lucas, I have something special planned for tonight. You are going to be part of the show." Lucas's eyes went wide. "What do you mean?" "You will see." "Do you trust me?" "Yes," Lucas said immediately. Rebecca led the family to front row seats right next to the ring. The arena was filling up with thousands of fans. The energy was electric. Lucas kept looking around in wonder. He had watched WWE on TV his whole life. Being here in person was like a dream. The show started. The lights dimmed. Music played. Wrestlers came out one by one to compete. Lucas watched everything with complete focus. He cheered and clapped. He was having the time of his life. Then, midway through the event, something unexpected happened. The arena went completely dark. A video started playing on the massive screens above the ring. It was footage from the documentary. The audience saw Lucas in his hospital bed, thin and sick. They saw Sarah working her 3 jobs, exhausted and desperate. They saw Emma writing her letter to John Cena. They saw the family's struggle and pain. The arena went silent. Thousands of people watched this family's story. They saw Lucas getting treatment. They saw him suffering. They saw him fighting. Then the video showed John Cena's visit to their apartment. It showed him paying their medical debt and funding Lucas's treatment. It showed Lucas's recovery. The video ended with recent footage of Lucas, healthy and strong, doing John Cena's hand gesture. Text appeared on the screens. "Tonight we honor a real champion. Lucas Mitchell is in remission." The crowd exploded. The noise was deafening. A spotlight hit Lucas sitting in the front row. He looked shocked and overwhelmed. Everyone in the arena was looking at him. People started chanting his name. "Lucas, Lucas, Lucas." Sarah and Emma hugged Lucas. Tears were streaming down all their faces. The love from thousands of strangers was overwhelming. Then John Cena's entrance music hit. The crowd went even crazier. John walked down the ramp toward the ring, but he did not go inside. He stopped at Lucas's seat. John reached over the barrier and helped Lucas stand up. He looked at Sarah, asking silent permission. Sarah nodded, crying too hard to speak. John helped Lucas climb over the barrier. Together they walked down the ramp to the ring. Lucas could barely process what was happening. He was walking to a WWE ring with John Cena. This was beyond any dream he had ever had. John helped Lucas climb into the ring. The crowd's cheers were so loud they shook the building. Lucas stood in the center of the ring, looking up at thousands of faces. Everyone was cheering for him. John took a microphone. The crowd quieted down to hear him speak. "WWE Universe," John said, his voice booming through the arena. "I want you to meet my friend Lucas Mitchell. 8 months ago, this young man was fighting for his life. He was drowning in medical debt. His family was struggling. His future was uncertain." John put his hand on Lucas's shoulder. But Lucas's sister Emma did something incredibly brave. She asked for help. "She wrote me a letter that changed everything." The crowd cheered. John continued, "I get thousands of requests every month. People want autographs, appearances, help with their causes. I cannot respond to everyone, even though I wish I could. He looked at Lucas. But Emma's letter reminded me why I do what I do. It reminded me that sometimes one person really can make a difference. John lowered a microphone to Lucas's height. Lucas, I have a question for you. You have beaten cancer. You have helped your family through the darkest time of their lives. You have inspired millions of people with your story. What are you going to do next? Lucas stood there shaking but determined. He thought about everything he had been through. The pain, the fear, the struggle, but also the love, the support, and the hope. He spoke into the microphone. His voice was small at first, but it grew stronger. I am going to be a doctor, Lucas said. I am going to help other kids who have cancer. I am going to make sure no family has to choose between their home and their child's life. The arena erupted again. People were on their feet cheering and crying. John Cena nodded, his own eyes wet with tears. That is the right answer, champion, John said. And to help you get started on that dream, the WWE and I are establishing the Lucas Mitchell Scholarship Fund. We are dedicating $2 million to help you and other young people who want to pursue careers in medicine, especially those affected by medical debt or serious illness. In the front row, Sarah fainted. Security rushed to help her while Emma screamed in shock. The cameras captured everything. John continued. Lucas, you remind us all what real strength looks like. It is not about muscles or championships. It is about never giving up even when everything seems impossible. He pulled out a real WWE championship belt. Not a toy. Not a replica. A real championship belt with Lucas's name engraved on the front. This is for you, champion, John said, handing it to Lucas. You earned it. Lucas took the belt. He lifted it above his head. Then he did John Cena's signature gesture, putting his hand in front of his face. You cannot see me, Lucas shouted. The crowd chanted along with him. John Cena did the gesture too. Together they celebrated in the ring while thousands of people witnessed this moment of pure joy. After the show ended, they went backstage again. Sarah had recovered from fainting, though she was still in shock. The family thanked John one more time. You did not just save my life, Lucas said quietly. You saved my whole family. John knelt down to look Lucas in the eyes. Nobody? Your family saved each other. Your mom's hard work, your sister's courage, your strength and determination. That is what saved your family. I just helped clear the path so you could do it. But if you had not helped, I would not be here, Lucas said. John smiled. And if Emma had not been brave enough to ask for help, I would never have known about you. This happened because your sister loved you enough to reach out. Because your family never gave up on each other. That is the real miracle here. The documentary ended with footage of the Mitchell family at home 2 weeks later. They were back in their apartment, but it looked different now. It was brighter, cleaner, happier. Sarah had bought new furniture with some of the money they saved from not having medical bills. The apartment finally felt like a home instead of just a place to survive. They sat together on their new couch, watching the video of Lucas's special moment in the WWE ring. The video had been viewed millions of times online. Messages of support came from all over the world. People were sharing their own stories of medical debt and asking for help. People were learning that it was okay to not be okay. It was okay to ask for help. Emma looked at her phone. There were thousands of comments on the documentary's trailer. People were calling Lucas inspiring. They were praising Emma's courage. They were talking about how John Cena showed what true heroism looks like. We did something good, did we not? Lucas asked. Sarah hugged both her children. You did something incredible. You taught people that asking for help is not weakness. You showed people that we are stronger together than we are alone. Emma smiled. And we learned that sometimes a letter really can change everything. Lucas looked at his championship belt sitting on the new coffee table. Then he looked at his John Cena poster still hanging on his bedroom wall. Everything had changed, but some things stayed the same. He still loved John Cena. He still believed in never giving up. He really came, Lucas said quietly. When I was at my worst, when we had no hope left, John Cena really came and helped us. I am never going to forget this. None of us will, Sarah said. This is a story we will tell for the rest of our lives. The documentary's final shot showed Lucas's bedroom wall. There was his old poster of John Cena. Next to it was a new frame with a handwritten note that John had given Lucas backstage after the WWE event. The note said, "Never give up. You are a true champion." John Cena! Below it, Lucas had added his own handwriting in marker. I will not. I promise. Lucas Mitchell. Sarah stood in the doorway of Lucas's room, looking at that note. She thought about everything they had been through. The darkest days when she thought she would lose her son. The fear of losing their home. The exhaustion of working 3 jobs and still not having enough. But they had made it. They had survived. More than survived. They had thrived. Emma came up behind her mother and put her arm around her shoulders. We are okay now, Mom, Emma said. We are really okay. Yes, Sarah said, wiping away tears. We are okay. We are better than okay. We are going to be great, Lucas called from the living room. Mom, Emma, they are showing the documentary preview on TV. Come watch! Sarah and Emma walked back to the living room. Lucas had the TV on. A commercial was playing, advertising the documentary's release next week. They sat together on the couch, the 3 of them, watching the preview. They saw their own faces on the screen. They saw their story being told to the world. Outside, the sun was setting. Golden light came through the windows. Sarah looked at her 2 children. Emma, who had been brave enough to ask for help when they needed it most. Lucas, who had fought with everything he had and won. I am so proud of both of you, Sarah said. Whatever happens next, whatever the future holds, I want you to remember something. We did this together. We never gave up on each other. Never give up, Lucas said, smiling. That is our family motto now. Forever, Emma agreed. They sat together as the sun set, bathed in golden light, a family that had been broken and was now whole. A family that had asked for help and received it. A family that had learned the most important lesson of all. We are never alone if we are brave enough to reach out. And somewhere in the world, John Cena was probably working out or filming a movie or preparing for his next event, but he carried the Mitchell family in his heart. He had seen their struggle and their strength. He had witnessed their love for each other, and he had been honored to be part of their story, because that is what heroes do. They show up when people need them most. They help without asking for anything in return. They remind us all that kindness and compassion can change lives. Lucas picked up his championship belt one more time. He held it close to his chest. Then he looked at his mother and sister and smiled. We are champions, he said. All of us. Yes, Sarah said, pulling her children close. We are, and they were. They really were.